Over the past 2 decades, genetically modified organisms, or GMO, have been pushed in many countries by multinational corporations like Monsanto and Syngenta, despite their harmful effects on human and animal health and biodiversity. GMOs and a variety of chemicals used along with them have destroyed the organic layer for cultivation of the Earth's surface, causing serious contamination to water systems, poisoning aquatic organisms and soil microorganisms, changing the natural ecosystems in many countries. Despite the suffering of the people, Monsanto, for their own profit, has poisoned a large area of land on the Earth by their GMOs and accompanying chemicals, and is becoming a danger on the global scale. The Ministry of Agriculture and Rural Development, MARD, of Vietnam has opened the door for Monsanto to introduce its GMOs into Vietnam indirectly through its subsidiary company, the Calb Vietnam Co. Limited. Although these GM varieties have been experimented with and replicated in many parts of Vietnam for nearly a decade, no scientific report on the results of these experimental programs has yet been disclosed openly and transparently to the public, especially directly to farmers. Meanwhile, MARD is planning to transform millions of hectares of agricultural land to grow GM corn instead of rice. Thousands of hectares of primary forest land have been lost due to GM corn plantations. In many areas, farmers have been pushed into tragedies. All land that inherently is the source of their daily livelihood has been poisoned by GM corn with chemical fertilizers, pesticides, and herbicides supplied by Monsanto. In other places, farmers have fallen into debt, disease, and eventually lost their land to repay loans to companies. Before planting 20 kilos of corn, I apply 1 ton of NPK fertilizer, which costs 3.5 million dong per ton.
Một tấn NPK. Bao nhiêu tiền hả bác? Một tấn NPK là mấy triệu ạ? Nó 3-4 triệu. 3-4 triệu. 3 triệu. 3 triệu rưỡi một tấn bón lót đấy. Vâng. Xong rồi đến khi là
When the corn develops, I apply another 400 kilos of urea fertilizer per hectare.
thì thôi rồi sau là nó lên thì mình mới bón đạm. Mình bón đạm. Khi lên mình bón đạm là bón 4 tạ. 1 hectare.
Before, I usually weed by hand, but now I have started using herbicide.
Hồi mới ra thì mình làm bằng tay thôi, lấy cuốc đi cuốc, nhưng mà bây giờ lại phun thuốc mà mình phun một lần hectare, mình phun mấy lần cỏ.
I spray herbicide twice a season. Over my cornfield, I have sprayed a total of 20 tanks of herbicide or 5 kilos.
Bây giờ nếu mà so với cái chỗ đất đấy thì cũng phải 20 bình, nên 20 bình. 20 bình phun đấy. 20 bình phun thì mấy cái lọ thuốc thì lọ thuốc kia thì một bình nó phải hết 5 cân.
It's quite easy to borrow money. When I need money, I often borrow from Tuan Ting private company in Con Noi commune.
Thỉnh thoảng bí một cái thì ra vay Tuân Thinh. Tuân Thinh là doanh nghiệp Tuân Thinh. Tuân Thinh. Vâng. Doanh nghiệp Tuân Thinh gì?
However, the interest rate is very high, about 2 to 3% per month. Last time I borrowed 60 million dong for my son from that company at an interest rate equal to 180,000 dong per day. So after 1 year of accruing debt, my son paid a total of 60 million dong in interest.
Một năm 12 tháng cũng hết 60 tiền lãi. 60 triệu tiền lãi.
In this context, the Community Entrepreneurship Development Institute, CENDI, together with the International Organization of Grain, Indonesia, Masipag, Philippines, Biotai, Thailand, and Saida, Laos, co-organized a regional sharing on GMO and local biodiversity with the participation of over 50 representatives being key farmers from Vietnam, Laos, Cambodia, the Philippines, and Thailand to share lessons learned and losses caused by the use of GM seeds and chemicals in these countries, and to set out the following strategies. 1. Strengthen capacity and awareness of the key farmer network on the dangers of GM corn that have been commercially planted in upland regions in Vietnam and other countries, and propose solutions to eliminate GMO poisoning by Monsanto. 2. Address how native varieties of rice, corn, and soybean can be preserved, nurtured, and enriched by facilitating community seed banks in those areas where the community is still rich in indigenous knowledge and living in a rich ecosystem, by promoting sharing and exchange with the Southeast Asian countries, especially the Philippines, Indonesia, Laos, and Thailand. 3. Connect farmers from the Philippines, Vietnam, Laos, and Thailand to sustain local native species and to challenge the environmentally and socially destructive movement for the promotion of GM corn in the region. We must be aware that once a new GM species is created, it will put nature, our ecosystem, and land at risk of damage when such products that go along with GMOs, such as herbicides, are sprayed or applied into the ground or air, which will cause severe environmental pollution.
Do ý chí chủ quan kia cũng đang ngày càng được giải vào mảnh đất, được phun lên bầu trời để tạo ra môi trường cũng hết sức bất bình thường.
On behalf of the key farmer network in the Southeast Asian countries, Grain, Masipag, Biotai, and Saida, and Sendi would like to extend our sincere thanks to Miserior, Germany, for their valuable financial support and contribution to the success of the regional sharing that has helped the key farmers, civil society organizations, media, and government officials to better understand the potential consequences and serious effects on health, ecology, society, and environment caused by the increasing development and expansion of Monsanto and its GMOs in many countries.
Mạc đi